YouTube, it's your boy Steph Reacts. We are back at it with another update. What did I just say? What did I just say last video on this Tory Lanez shit? I told y'all that the shit get deeper than what the surface shows, okay? Shout out to Black Balloon. This is his video. I'm finna react to it. I'm not about to say too much because I done already said it. He about to explain everything, okay? He about to say the same thing that I was saying, all right? So I might not speak that much. I don't know. We'll find out, bro. But we are here. We're finna tap in. So shout out to Black Balloon. I probably got to link the video in the description so y'all can check out his channel and stuff. He got some great content on there if you really get into that conspiracy type of thing or you want to think outside the box, all right? So be sure to tap them links down below, like, comment, and subscribe. Without further ado, man, let's get it.
What is going on with y'all, man? It is Black Balloon, and I'm coming back with another video, so y'all already know what's going on. All right, y'all. Now, as y'all can tell by the title of this video and the guy on the screen, this is Tory Lanez. Y'all already know what we're here to talk about today, right? I jumped on this video because of the news that actually came out today. And it comes from Kelsey's bodyguard, who has finally admitted that Tory Lanez is basically innocent. And I think this is something that we all know. You know, we all knew from the jump. And if y'all remember, I did a video about a year and a half ago where we really went into the details on why this happened to Tory Lanez.
Ribeye must have cost a fortune, huh?
It's an Aldi thing.
I cannot find this. Shout out to StockX because I have been looking and dying for this hat.
This wasn't just something on the surface. We know Roc Nation and Jay-Z was behind this. We know this comes from Tory Lanez when he did those lives back when like it was 2020 and during that era, everybody locked down, all that good stuff, right? And he was talking too much. He was putting artists on game on how to beat the industry and get your own masters. Remember, he had those stories where he said he was going to go after Interscope. And he also did that IG live where he explained this whole situation with him and Meg and how Roc Nation basically conspired over a week or so after the original shooting happened, or supposed shooting happened, to make this story up, put it out, spin the narrative, and now everything is on Tory Lanez. So what I want to do in this video is just go back and visit a little bit of those IG lives. Not going to play everything because I have a full video that I'll link in the description if y'all want to go back and reference as well, right? But I do want to play the latest update and the latest evidence on the case that basically says Tory Lanez is an innocent man. Now, as soon as I heard that conference that they just had, I already knew I wanted to jump on it and do a video on it. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and listen to the press conference. That way y'all get the latest evidence for those who haven't seen it yet. Then we'll get into a little bit of why this really happened, because you have to think, you know, why are they going after Tory Lanez, or why did they? Why did they want him gone for a couple years? Why did they use Megan Thee Stallion? How much money they made off of this? Y'all got to remember, a month after the supposed shooting happened when Tory Lanez shot her in the foot, she had this song with Cardi B, WAP, go #1 on the Billboard. So this was very much industry. They made millions and millions just off of him supposedly shooting her. It was all set up, and they basically cashed out off his back. They got him put away, and in return, they made millions of dollars from their artists, which happened to be Megan Thee Stallion. So you know Roc Nation, Jay-Z was behind this completely. But before I go, you know, back into all of that, we'll go ahead and check out the new evidence, all right? Check this out.
Not long ago, Unite the People was approached by a gentleman named Bradley James. Mr. James informed us he was working as the bodyguard and driver for Miss Kelsey Harris during Mr. Peterson's trial. As such, he was in close proximity and he had privy to conversations she was having with her husband and others. Mr. James informed us he was not under a non-disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement and was free to speak with Unite the People, and that he was doing it because his conscience would not let him not speak and leave a man in prison for something he did not do. Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was witness to the conversation Miss Harris had, where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun, never fired the gun. This statement aligns with the statement of the only non-party witness to the case.
And then I'm going to say this too, bro. Now, when you see that they had this plan, all right? When you see that they had this planned, all right? They had this planned, okay? So when you hear that the nigga just gets stabbed, and I'm not laughing at the stabbing, I'm just trying to make you understand why I'm laughing. Like, it's just so obvious that this is not a coincidence, bro. I keep telling y'all, there's no such thing as coincidences, bro. I'm just here to pick your brain, you know? That's
Mr.
all.
Sean Kelly, who at trial testified, he saw 2 women fighting, 2 men break up the fight, 1 man grabbed the other one's arm. Gunshots came from the passenger side. The passenger side is where Miss Harris was sitting. This further iterates that Mr. Peterson did not shoot Miss Pete, did not shoot at Miss Pete, or did not assault Miss Pete. It's just another irregularity in a list of irregularities in this case. For example, there were
That's
3
crazy.
potential suspects in the car that night, and yet the only DNA sample was taken of Mr. Peterson,
Listen to what he's saying.
even though unknown DNA was found on the gun.
Listen to what he's saying.
Why wasn't Miss Harris's DNA taken?
Well,
Or was it taken and the information simply never given to the defense? Why wasn't the driver of the car, Mr. Jaquan Smith's DNA taken? Or was it taken and again, simply not given to the defense?
Now, that's something I never
Wow.
paid attention to. 1, 3 people in the car. 2, 3 gunshots were fired. 3, they only took Tory Lanez DNA. That right there solves the whole case. To let you know, they're trying to pin it on Tory Lanez. This is basically an industry hit to silence, get rid of Tory Lanez for a while, right? Even with the numerology, 3 people in the
what did I just say? What did I just say?
car, 3 gunshots just so happened to go off, and oh yeah, 2 of them supposedly went off when the gun was slapped out of her hands. This information, you know, as far as the bodyguard, is coming from him hearing conversations. What makes this a little bit more satanic, the fact that he was stabbed 14 times. We already know this. I'm pretty sure everyone has seen it. Stabbed 14 times. Face, torso, back, all over the place. By a convicted murderer who has a giant pentagram tattooed on his neck. Now, you know, we already know the history of gangs and Satanism, but this seems like a hit, you know? Seems like this was sent, and I'm pretty sure by the people who set this up in the first place, which would be Rock Nation. This guy, you know, got the word, they got a call, and they tried to take out Tory Lanez in prison. Maybe they knew this information today was about to come out. Maybe him getting stabbed is what drove the bodyguard to say, hey, you know what? I feel bad. I know he didn't really do nothing. I gotta say something. It just doesn't add up. There's a lot of red flags because there's been a lot of high profile rappers go to jail and you don't hear nothing about them getting stabbed 14 times.
But just about to say that, bro. The nigga was in jail for like 2 years, bro. Ain't nothing like this happen. Ain't nothing crazy like this happen, bro. Telling y'all, bro. Y'all gotta be safe out here. It is not a game. It's not a game. I'm telling y'all, it's not a game, boy. Connections. Money talks. Telling you, bro. This shit getting
But
spooky.
from what Tory Lanez has been going through, it seems like it's not quite over. Maybe they caught wind of, this new evidence that might exonerate him, that might, set him free. Because he never shot her in the first place. Just look at that pentagram peeking up out of his collar. You already know what time this is. What makes it even...
And peep the side. Peep the right side of his head. What's those numbers right there? Okay.
Crazier.
Okay.
I'm gonna link the video I did because I don't want to pull that article back up. I'd have to go too much to find it. But even Tory Lanez talks about it. Maybe I could throw just a small clip of that live he did where he even talked about how the LA Times put out an article like maybe the day or the night that it happened or the next day. And y'all remember the whole thing where, glass was in her foot, so on and so on. It took Roc Nation a week to spin the narrative pitted on Tory Lanez. Because in that original LA Times article, there was nothing said about a gunshot to her foot or nothing. Nothing said about it. Tory Lanez even talks about it as well because they tried to silence him. They basically told him it would be in your best interest to not say anything.
Really pay attention to this. When I was with Interscope, let's say I didn't drop music for a solid year and a half. Tory Lanez made sure that his streams were about 3 million streams, like with all the music, 3 million streams a day. Off 1 million streams, an artist gets $5,000 to $6,000 every Friday or every other Friday, right? So that means that when I wasn't dropping and I was at home, some label was sitting on their ass collecting $15,000 a day off of Tory Lanez music. If I'm popping and I'm making songs, I'm probably gonna do around like, let's call it 5 million streams. Let's just say that, just to make it easy, right? That means that someone's making $25,000 a day off of my music. So in 4 days, they made $100,000. Like, guys, let's do the numbers, guys. Like,
I sold these shits to my fans for $1. People came, some people bought 20, some people bought 5, some people bought 60. It doesn't matter how much you bought. It was only $1. You spent $60, you bought 60. I need y'all to understand. One of those copies right now is going for 50,000, 60,000, 60,000. Yo, my nigga, and these are sold. They're sold. Go look at the list right now.
You don't know what he's talking about? He's talking about he basically cutting out the middleman per se in the music industry. Okay, so basically he's basically cutting out the label. The labels don't like that, bro. They don't like that at all. So that's what he's doing. He's basically cutting out the label. You know what I'm saying? And this is why sometimes, it's best to stay independent and not deal with these folk. Sometimes, you know what I mean? Not saying that every label is like evil and out to get you. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that. You know what I mean? Because it's not every label. But in some sense, you want to reach a certain type of level. Yeah, it get like that, bro.
But see how small the sellers list is getting. Y'all don't understand what the fuck is going on? Y'all don't understand I just cracked the fucking industry? Y'all don't understand I just cracked this shit?
when the original
it's the live that he
report
did,
came out, and it was a TMZ report about this, that, and the third, and there was gunshots in Kylie Jenner's house, and Tory Lanez goes to jail. They gave y'all all the facts of the juice of Tory Lanez going to jail, and this, that, and the third, and Megan getting arrested, and da-da-da-da.
1,000 people in that
2 days after that, I get a call from Roc Nation that says, yo, we heard you're going to make a statement about what happened, and it'd be in your best interest if you don't make that statement.
I don't know, man. It's getting spooky out here. Like I said, Roc Nation called him. And said it's in your best interest if you don't make a statement. Do you hear what this nigga is telling y'all, bro? Hey.
So I'm like,
it's getting spooky out here.
Oh, okay. I don't understand what the issue of me telling my fans, like, yo, look, it's not that serious of a deal. I went to jail for whatever. It's like, I didn't get for that 2 days why that was an issue. 2 days later, the TMZ report come out. TMZ reports, and they have the surveillance now. Now they see the video of the arrest. You see Megan, you see me, and you see it's all sprawled out on the ground in bathing suits and blah, blah, blah. Now the reports are starting to say, okay, well, everyone's pointing to different things. No one really knows what's happened, but nobody has ever said she got shot.
Nobody has ever said she got shot. Not TMZ, not the police report at this point. Nothing is saying that she got shot. Soon as she sees herself on video with the bikini and the things like that, and it looks bad, she then comes out and says, yo, the narrative of me getting cut by glass, it's just not true. She doesn't point at nobody or anybody or say anything or anything like that. She just says the narrative that whatever came out of me being cut by glass is not true. I was shot in my feet with the intention to harm me and put harm and danger upon me, right? So, okay, cool. Like, all of a sudden, the affiliates of her circle start pointing, like, little subliminal fingers, like, count your days, and, like, I won't be around when you're shooting at feet, and, like, little funny things that they start doing. And I'm kind of like, damn, hold on, where are y'all about to take this? Because y'all told me not to make a statement, so I'm trying to figure out where y'all taking me to. I don't get it. So then at this point, she goes live because people are not really understanding the story or whatever cases. She waits. She doesn't go on, a time when it's just a regular time. For y'all who don't understand, it was one of those things where me and her knew what was going on, but y'all didn't know what was going on. She went live on my birthday. This is put in public information. LA Times puts out an article, and in the article they say, this is the initial report. 2 sources close to the investigation said that she got cut by glass, and she said that she got cut by glass. So then it's like, people see that, okay, hold on, they're saying on the initial police report with Officer Santiago, whatever his name is, you can go look this up, this is on LA Times. That's when it gets to this point where it says, okay, they reported no gunfire wound in her foot. They just reported a woman with a foot injury. So you gotta understand.
And also, too, I wanted to say, this is why I never understood the story when it first came out. Because you telling me that that trained police officers, trained EMTs, ambulam niggas, you telling me that them niggas with expertise training cannot detect whether this is a gunshot wound or a cut by glass wound? You mean to tell me that they couldn't decipher which one was which? Are you serious right now? That's what I'm talking about with you pea-brain ass niggas. You niggas do not think for nothing. You don't think. You don't know what's going on, bro. You niggas is so easily deterred and easily influenced. Like, it's so easy to lead y'all astray. Like, the Bible is correct. Y'all are real live sheep. Y'all are sheep, bro. And it's sad. It's real live sad. Like, it's crazy. I cracked the code the day that story first came out. I'm like, hold on. That don't make sense. It don't make common sense. When stuff in the story don't make common sense, bro, if you come out of a story confused and still don't know what's going on, the devil's in the details, bro. Okay? The devil is always in the details. Every time. Every time.
Understand, like, this is what's in their initial police report. Fuck all the Instagram. Fuck the other shit. This is just what's in the police report.
And so there you have it. That's the original story. That when this first happened, a lot of people knew nothing about. A lot of people won't go and check an LA Times local article until they start seeing things on Instagram. This is why it took them a week to create the narrative, to force feed people. He basically said, she told him, if you keep talking, I'm not going to keep sparing you. So she basically got on the internet and he was told not to say anything. He hadn't even been on the internet. They threatened him and said, if you do say something, basically, we're going to do something to you. It's not in your best interest to say anything about this right now. So they threatened him so he wouldn't say anything so they could concoct this narrative and control what people see. So her job was to get on the internet and make it seem like he was still talking shit about her. So it would, come onto the people smooth when they put the narrative out there. Crazy thing is, like I was saying, people take and listen to what's on Instagram, what comes out on TMZ, academics, all these other pages and stuff. Most people didn't go and look up the original article that has the original police report. We talked about that article that he's talking about in the video I did, the first video I did explaining everything. That article is real, and it mentioned nothing about a gunshot. But that's why I say people are not going to pay attention to that. That's, you know, once they spin the narrative and put it out there that this happened and her fans believe it and, you know, so on and so on. Now it's just a debate about Tory didn't do it. Meg is lying. There's no debate about the real truth. No one is going and finding the real truth. But he told you what it was in that live, and I still don't think people really paid attention to it. Or else we would have seen that original article all over the place. You know, the original police report is not gonna lie. Nothing is being spent at that moment. It's just the police arriving on scene, documenting what happened, and so on and so on. After that, it's just a machine, which is Roc Nation, billionaires who can put out a narrative for fans to believe, you know, and then rake profit off the entire situation with their artist, Megan Thee Stallion. While also deeper things going on behind the scenes with Tory Lanez and getting him up out of here, basically. So I would have to say that this is a very deep rabbit hole. Goes all the way back to Roc Nation, Jay-Z being the head of all that. And you also got to remember his dad talking about it. His dad went on that rant. I think it was outside of the courthouse when he got sentenced. And he knew it was set up by them as well. You know, and it could be for more reasons than we even know. It could be bigger than just Tory Lanez, you know, trying to out the music industry for artists to get their own masters and exposing how much the label actually makes off of him per week, every single Friday. You know, how much they're actually taking off the top. Could be bigger than that. Could be something we may never really know the truth about. But obviously, it was big enough for them to try to have him killed while he's still in jail.
And that's spooky as hell. Hey, be sure to drop a like for that, man. Shout out to Black Balloon again. Be sure to check his channel out. He got some great content on there. If you into, really tapping into that, finding the truth, conspiracy talk, if you will. I'm just trying to, put it in perspective because I don't think it's conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? The truth ain't conspiracy. There's no such thing as coincidences. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, man, we out here, bro. It's your boy J Steph. Until next time.